future tech superstars. Welcome to Arif Sir Science Hub, your pathway to success in Edexcel O-level computer science. It's me, Arif Islam. You can call me Arif Sir. Today we're going to talk about the basic computing model. You can see here, it is chapter 1 and lesson 1.1.1. And in this lesson, we'll talk about basic computing model. And in this model, we'll discuss about input, process, output model and input, process, output and storage model. So let's discuss in details about this model. So input, process, output model. So first of all, we have to know the definition of computers in terms of this basic computing model. So how we can define the computers in terms of this model. So computers is a machine that takes some inputs from the surroundings and it will give us some outputs according to some instructions. Then it should be considered as a computers. This is the basic, very basic fundamental rules or fundamental models for the computers. So you can think about the basic computers as calculator. So how calculator will work? So you can see calculator basically work with some input, process and output in this model. Like we'll insert some inputs, the calculator will take it, then it will process it, then again it will give us some outputs. Like we'll just give like 4 plus 4. We just type it in the calculator, then the calculator receives this as an input, then it will process it and again it will give us some outputs according to the inputs and some set of instructions or some set of rules. Then it should be 4 plus 4 is equal to 8. So that is the basic working principle of a computer. That means in this basic model, a computer gonna work. So I think this input, process and output model is very clear to you. And still then if you have any problem or any confusions, let me know in the comment sections. So let's move to the next slides. So here you can see we'll have input, process, output and storage in this model. That means extra sections added in this model. That means input, process, output and storage. Why storage is important here? Because when the computer receives some inputs from the user, then it will process it according to the instruction set or some rules, then it will give us some outputs. But what if we want to save the processed instruction for further use? Then we need another sections where we can store the data for further or future use. So from this concept, this input, process, output and storage model comes. So in this model, it's very efficient model, and in this model, our all instructions or all inputs will be processed first. Then it will give us some output according to the inputs and instructions. Then all the instructed or processed information or data will be stored in the storage device. Okay. So in this model, we have four segments or 4 sections like input, process, output and storage. So we'll discuss one by one, like the input, process, output, and storage. So let's first see about the inputs. So input basically is the data that enters to the computers. That means whatever we type in the keyboards, that should be considered as the input. That means the data will just put as the input to the computers. Then computer receives the data as the inputs. So there are some examples of input devices like the keyboard, mouse, trackpad. All those devices can be considered as the input device. That means by the help of or by using those devices, we'll just give input to the computers. Then computer will receive this information or this data, then it will start processing it. So let's discuss about the processing sections. So processing basically happens in the processing unit, that means the CPU, the central processing unit. And the central processing unit is the brain of the computers. Why we can call it as the brain of the computer? Because all the data that will receive from the inputs or by the keyboards or from the mouse or trackpad, the computer will process it and think it, and it will make decisions, it will make calculations. That's why we can call this central processing unit as a brain of the computers. It performs calculations in the processing sections, then manage data, then execute instructions. Because from the input, it will receive the instructions, it will receive the data, then it will process it. Then it will execute the instructions in the processing sections. And when the processing will be done, then we'll need an output section or output device to display the output. So output is the result of the computer that processing or processed. And there are some examples for output device like the monitor, printer, speakers, and lots of the devices are available for the output devices. That means when we'll take some inputs, it will process, then it will give some output over the output devices. And then storage. So storage is where the computer keeps data for future use. That means when you want to use the further data, then the storage device will be used. So there are lots of storage devices available for the permanent storage, like hard disk drive, the USB, the cloud storage, the SSD drive. Storage are available where we can store the data permanently. So now we can see like real world examples of this input, process, and output model. So in this model, you can see real life examples like where we use this model. So you can consider it as a when we want to create or generate a document on the computer. Like we're typing something and we're generating a document in the computer. So when we type a document, at that moment we'll input something from the keyboard. So when we press the key, then it will take some inputs from the keyboards. Then the CPU process the keystrokes. That means what type of key we pressed, the CPU will be acknowledged about it. Then it will process it. Then in the output section, it will give the text on the monitors that we press in the keyboards. And the storage, it will just save the data or save the file for the further use, where we can just again use the document in the futures. So there's the examples of the input, process, output, storage model. This is a more efficient and advanced model according to input, process, output model, because the storage section is very important for this computing, like in a real world. Okay. So please feel free to ask any questions if you have. You can comment me. I will just answer all of your questions. So you feel free to ask me. I will answer you. So thank you. See you in the next class. And till then, stay safe and stay healthy. Take care. Thank you.